This episode is brought to you by Bellator's Publishing, bringing stories to the world that last forever.
Today on Faithfully Fantasy.
The tunnel that smells like Varish and pain, and then she thinks of Xaden and she gets the scent of thunderstorms. What do you think about all the smell references?
The first thought that came to my mind was like, is it possible that maybe Varish's body is somewhere in that room and she can smell it or something?
That wouldn't smell like Varish and pain, that would smell like dead body.
I didn't say it was dead. I don't know why nobody is talking about it. Because what it says is, I couldn't stop her. Was that my voice or Brennan's? I genuinely think that this is Brennan talking to somebody else from outside. Maybe talking to the General Venin. Hello and welcome to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things Iron Flame.
I'm JC.
And I'm Sean.
And today's episode is extra special because it marks the end of the season. We're wrapping up our deep dive into the Iron Flame and getting ready for the storm on the horizon. Onyx Storm. This episode closes out our season with Iron Flame and sets the stage for an exciting new season dedicated to Onyx Storm.
We've got some exciting things planned for the podcast that we can't wait to share with you. Keep an eye on our Instagram account, website, and newsletter for updates. We have so much extra content planned.
Before starting today's deep dive, just our regular spoiler warning. We'll be discussing everything the Empyrean series, including bonus chapter and promo content for Onyx Storm, officially released by Rebecca Yarros on her team. No unofficial leaks are covered. And let's face it, there will be probably spoilers for Harry Potter and maybe Star Wars as well.
Probably. A heads up, we'll be using adult language, so listener discretion is advised.
So, without further ado, let's do the summary.
So we pick back up in the middle of the Battle of Basgiath. Violet knows how to raise the wards, but she needs her not so little, not so golden dragon. We learn the ultimate secret of the Seventh Den and we re-raise the wards at Basgiath, but not without a heavy loss. We see Wyvern rain from the sky, we reunite with the squad, and we look straight into Xaden's red-rimmed onyx eyes.
Ooh.
Xaden wakes up next to Violet in his very own POV chapter and takes a midnight stroll to find some answers.
Okay. Are we ready to go to chapter 64?
Straight into chapter 64.
Okay. Epigraph.
You're going to love Violet. She's smart and stubborn. Reminds me a lot of you, actually. You just have to remember when you meet her, she's not her mother. Recovered correspondence of Cadet Liam Mari to Sloane Mari.
Yes. So there is just one thing that this epigraph makes me think. When he said that it's not like her mother, talking about Violet, is he just because, obviously, Lilith Sorangel was the one responsible to kill all the parents from all the Mark ones, all the people.
Well, that's what they think, isn't it?
Well, that's like the official version that's going to say that. Or could be because Liam, he was so close to Xaden, and when Xaden, and he says that Lilith is a fucking monster. The Xaden says something to Liam about her, and that is when he said that she is not like her mother. It's not like that monster or something else.
It could be. I think all the marked ones think that she's a monster anyway, because she definitely brought in Fen, and we know it was Melgren's dragon that was responsible ultimately for the execution, but Lilith obviously had a very public, very visible part of it, even though we know that she didn't want the kids of the marked ones to witness the executions of their parents.
Yes.
She doesn't admit that publicly. I have a few things to say about this. Firstly, Liam. Every time this boy, man, gets mentioned, my heart aches a little bit. Liam is an excellent judge of character, and I don't think Sloane and Violet are compared here by accident. I think Sloane will be a massive part of winning the war, like first 6 important. Like she will be one of the ones that is responsible for ridding the continent of Venin.
She's a siphon, and there's not many other siphons that we know. The last one was Nolan, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. It's obviously a rare signet. It's not fully rare, but I genuinely believe that siphoning is going to be part of returning stolen magic to where it should be, or where it's always been. Also, the recovered correspondence of Cadet Liam Maury. We know that Liam, unfortunately, is dead. Do they use recovered here because it's recovered from him after he died? Is it recovered because they all die? What does this mean for the recovered correspondence from Xaden to Violet?
I think right now this letter is in possession of Sloane, because Violet was given the letters a little by little for her to train in as a gift. Like, if you train, we give you one of these. And Imogen was there responsible for that. So I'm thinking it's recovered from Sloane, which make you think as well that she's not going to make it.
Yeah, but if you think that, then you think Xaden isn't, because there's recovered correspondence from Xaden as well.
It's so far there's no writers. There's no showing like a letter or something. There's no showing that it's being recovered.
Really? We'll have to check that.
Yeah. Should we start with the chapter?
Yeah. We talked about this at the end of last episode. How does Xaden know they're waiting for him? He says, do us both a favour and don't ask. So this could be, we talked about last week, as simple as his dreams, or the Venin outright telling him, just like they tell Violet that they're after her and that they're not going to kill her and they need to wait until she's with the general, or they say the sage, I don't know. But I had an idea and woke you up in the middle of the night to tell you about it. Right, this is unhinged. And for a long time, I did not even entertain the idea that Xaden's granddad could be the general, or one of them, or a sage. It was actually a theory from Carly at Bookish is Better, and I'm now convinced. I am just now convinced. Every time I read these bits, it's got to be something. And I wonder, if it is, could Sir Gale still be bonded to Granddaddy Ryerson, or Granddaddy Xaden, because we don't know if it's mum's or dad's. I have a bit of a sneaky suspicion that it might be mum later on. But anyway, could there be some kind of connection there that still allows them to communicate? And that begs the question, that is one of the ones that is talking to Violet, Naelin. And I'm wondering about the young one who smells sweet, etc. And I know that people think that's related to Xaden, but could they be communicating through the bond via Sir Gale?
That's actually a really valid question, because so far we only hear that, yes, a dragon bond, just a human. There's been like some comment from Kaori, I think, when he said that they don't understand why just one, or when it can maybe have more than one. So
yeah,
Violet bound to 2 dragons. Why a dragon can bond to human? Yeah,
it says it is not known at which point a dragon decided to bond only one rider rather than improve their chances with 2. I'm not reading it. That's going from memory. So it's something like that, isn't it?
I was thinking the same as well, because that part of the dream of Violet, when she said that she saw the Venin's arm, and it had like a brown skin, is kind of like make you think they could be related to maybe Xaden somehow. So I was thinking that, it could be like a deeper connection between Xaden and this Venin, and more by the end, Xaden's point of view, where they had like a chat. Mm-hmm. So I think there could be something there. There is not just this Venin appearing in Xaden's dream, as it happens to Violet. Totally agree. There's something there. Mm. The sage is there with the wyverns, but then he starts to going down. And Violet is the one who asks her if Xaden has to choose between build the walls between Basgaiath and Aaric, what he will choose. And then there's a moment here when Xaden flinch, and he's looking to the horde with a sage just going down. And he says, "Ward Basgaiath." That moment for me is a little bit like suspicious because the sage is getting closer to the ground. They are on the ground, and without Xaden saying anything, he just like flinch. Maybe like a reaction or something. So I'm thinking, is the sage maybe talking to him? Like, I don't know, Shadow Wielder, I'm here, or whatever. And he just, he's getting closer now.
Could be, or it could be that he's read his intentions at that point.
Yeah.
And he's intending to turn Xaden, or he's intending to kill, or to get Violet. Because we know, I think he's bluffing when he says he's going to kill Violet. But it could be that he's either reading his intentions. He says, "And if we die here today, then the knowledge dies with us anyway, Ward Basgaiath." I think that's quite intelligent that, we're here right now, we could all die anyway. I do think they're going to raise the wards at Aaric in Onyx Storm. I think they'll find out that either it was a lie and they didn't need a brand new dragon every time. They could use the same dragons.
Yeah.
Or they will find another member of the Seventh Den. I think we'll have wards in Aaric in Onyx Storm.
I'm thinking the opposite. I'm thinking that maybe will come the time the wards in Basgaiath, they will fall, and maybe it will be because Violet.
I think that'll be in book 4. We'll see. We have no idea.
We just
guessing like everyone else.
Thinking out loud, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so Violet said like, okay. So she pivots and talks to Coda, directly to Coda. "I need to talk to you." And what is Xaden's reaction? Holy fuck, Violet. Why? Because Xaden knows that you don't talk to other dragons, especially if the one that you're talking is bigger than yours, and they're your own dragon. So for me, again, it's just another hint here that Violet talking to dragons with no problems. And while it's Coda's reaction, the first thing that he does is just is lowering his head. So it's like, Violet's talking to me. Are you going to see what she wants? So it's not like...
Or is he lowering his head because he knows she's important? Is it like a bow?
Well, according with the books, he just lowers a little bit because even if the head is like at the same level of the ground, she won't be bigger than the nostrils. It makes you think like,
I know, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up again. Well, see, he's more than 25 feet tall because 10 is 25. No, average is 25 feet, and he's bigger than 10. Yeah. 10 is bigger than that. So, he's massive. She says, "Coda, you didn't tell your rider because dragonkind protects dragonkind." I do think Coda is a good dragon and genuinely just wants to protect the Vale. And I think he's done more than Melgren knows. I think we've previously talked about whether he gave something else to the marked ones as part of the execution of their parents. Because obviously we know about the rune in Sloane and Liam's mum's protective rune. And it said it will protect you against the signet of the rider who executes us. So we know it's down to that. But whether Coda also did anything else that might have helped because he knew that they were fighting.
Yes, I remember that on Fourth Wing, there was a reference that everyone was thinking there was Coda or a dragon, the one who made the rebellion relics. I don't know how true it will be that. There may be just some hints there in the beginning. I think it will be like a lot of stuff that we still not getting from Fourth Wing.
Yeah, definitely.
We start to see more details.
Yeah, we know that they start on the arm because they were holding the stone. So we know that there's a link towards that, but I just can't shake the feeling that Coda did something else. Also, just before that point, we get another time reference, and we've been banging on about these for a few weeks now, but it wouldn't be us if we didn't point another one out. She said, "My heart beats like the second hand of a clock, ticking down what time we have left." It's not a clear slowing down reference or slowing down time or pausing time reference, but it's just another time and heartbeat reference.
Yeah, Violet said you know that you haven't said anything to your rider because of this. Xaden is just swearing under his breath. I think by this point, he's probably leaving shadow marks on the pants because Coda is the most powerful.
I don't think
rider.
anything scares Xaden Ryerson, apart from losing Violet. Well, maybe. To losing Violet to Coda.
With Coda.
Exactly. Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you've convinced me.
But she only said that I can't use turn anymore. And say then like, no, but you had Andarna, you don't need Coda. Violet asks, will you come? Telling to Coda. Coda is like thinking about it, and she like put more emphasis. Will you come? And she's holding Coda's menaces glare. And he nods. So that is just like, again, you're not supposed to talk to dragons. And yes, it's because this is like really important thing. But I mean, for me, the fact that he's doing nothing else to like show that she shouldn't doing that. She should maybe to turn and then turn to him or whatever. But no, it's directly having a conversation about the Imperial stuff with a human.
Yeah. I do. So that we've had some comments on a couple of our posts about this and our episodes about this. And it wouldn't be right not to mention them because I do think that people, and it's not one person, it's several people raising a really good point. One, Coda knows that she knows now how to raise the wards. She's figured it out. She's worthy of the knowledge. She is essentially offering a solution to Coda to save the veil and re-raise the wards. That is in Coda's interest. It's not like he's going to be like, no, Roast, you're dead. He knows that she knows the secret. So obviously, and you can tie this back, the only time that she talks to a dragon and it's not in the best interest of that dragon, although it might be because she says, I belong to Tern, to Bade in the land nav exercise, and he goes away. He's not roasting her because, yeah, she belongs to Tern. He's going to fucking kill me if I do anything, if he survives the roasting his rider. And I think he would. I think Tern would survive just long enough to roast Bade. So the other bits, like when she talks to Sleeg, when she runs onto Sleeg's back, when she talks to, maybe not the Greens at presentation day, that's different.
They were unbound dragons.
Yeah, but it's always in the best interests of the dragons, isn't it? That she's talking to them and she's going to save their rider or she's going to raise the wards. I can't see Coda not agreeing to that, but it is like even Xaden's reaction to it is like, Jesus Christ. And then the other thing is that it could be down to the fact that he is in a war situation as well and wants this to be over. Yeah. And all the rules kind of go out the window in war because, well, they don't, because I guess military stick to rules. But you know what I mean? Anything goes. You need to win this fight. And maybe he just respects how bold she is as well.
So he leaves. Then Melgren appears. Tern appears as well. Xaden just kiss her hard and say goodbye. Like, it's like gonna be the last time that he will see her, which is kind of like true because this is gonna be like the last time that she will see him as a full human, as a Xaden 100%.
With his whole soul.
Yes. And then I think there's a part here when we can see like the real General Sorangel, and it's not Lilith, it's Violet, because she just told to Coda, the most powerful dragon on the continent. After that, she goes to Melgren and says, the Flyers want to fight, let them fight. And then she runs, go to her mother, the general of Basgayath, could the storm, let the Griffons fight as well. And then she just goes, like, giving orders to the most powerful people around.
I've seen loads of theories recently, and there's not one that I can actually remember, but loads of things about her second signet being able to command people, so to control people and get them to bend their will to what she wants them to do. And I could totally believe it. I mean, it's not my number one theory, but this is an example of why you could...
I mean, I was thinking that even if a Kintari is there, she probably will say, you, bring me some water.
Yeah. Make yourself useful.
Yeah, so it's something like really special about the way that she's like planning everything, and she's not even thinking in ranks or anything. She's just like, she knows what she's doing. It has to be done.
Yeah.
Then she runs. She goes through the tunnel. In that tunnel, she got that smell like varish.
Yeah, there's a few references to smell in like a couple of sentences, isn't there? There's the tunnel that smells like varish and pain, and then she thinks of Xaden and she gets the scent of thunderstorms. Yeah, what do you think about all the smell references? What do you think is coming from?
I'm going to be honest, and this particular scene, the first thought that came to my mind was like, is it possible that maybe Varish body is somewhere in that room and she can smell it or something?
No, that wouldn't smell like varish and pain. That would smell like dead body.
I didn't say it was dead.
Oh my God, you just gave me goosebumps. You just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like another reference.
That really scared me.
He's there somewhere just recovering or something because why?
In a funnel.
I get it. There is everything about the trauma that she has. All that tunnel, the smell of damn earth.
I know it's 100% trauma, but that just like. Oh, that really scared me. It was like I was watching a horror movie. Yeah, there's also the theory around kind of bonded, something like bonded mates when it comes to Xaden, but the relation or how closely bonded she is to dragons and how her destiny is to be with dragons and that kind of thing. It could just be a linguistic descriptive device where Rebecca is descriptive about things that smell, like she uses smell as another way of describing the situation. In this bit though, when she's running, there's a widespread theory that Violet is going to be our distance wielder. I don't think she's going to be. I think Aaric is our distance wielder, but it's because in the next few pages, he says, damn, Sorengil, I've never seen you run that fast. But I just want to talk about this passage, like before we get to that point where he says that, before she arrives, she's clearly running in this passage. She's not skipping through distance because there's such a descriptive passage about how her arms pump and she forces her legs to move despite the pain that she's going through. It says she runs through the courtyard, dodging infantry squads, running up the central steps, running through the open door, down the hall with a pounding heart and burning lungs, like she's run like she's been training for it since Ressen. So she's running and running and running. The bit where Aaric says in a few pages' time, it is suspicious. I've never seen you run that fast. But you can clearly see she's running here. She's not jumping through space, is she?
Yes, I think exactly the same because she is describing where she is. She sees people around, the people see her as well. So I don't see any point when maybe she doesn't even realize how I can hear how this happened. And Aaric said, I never see you run that fast. Could be completely true because they know each other for such a long time before so maybe Violet as a scribe, he haven't seen her running that much. Like she'd been training with Imogen or all this kind of stuff. But she is running. And then she need to stop because she's like feeling like she's going to be sick because she's just pushing too hard. So I generally believe that is not a distance wielder reference. It will be something to make you think if Aaric says something like, where did you come from? Or,
yeah. One minute you were there, the next minute you weren't. Kind of like
I didn't see you coming. Where are you? Something like that. But no, he was seeing her running towards them.
Yeah, and it's so descriptive about what she's running through. Right, so she arrives in the Wardstone chamber.
She sees the Wardstone is full repaired. Brennan said that it took everything I had to mend it. Then she asked if it's working. And she said, well, you need to try. So Violet started to try. She started to do the same.
Can we just talk about Brennan for a minute? in that sentence. Sorry to stop you, but I just can't work Brennan out. See, he says try. If it doesn't, this was all for nothing. He seems so legit here in trying to help her raise the wards. He's mended the wards. He could have been like, no, I can't do it. Does he think then that she would just go and get Nolan and Nolan would do it? So is he in the situation where he has to do it? If it doesn't, this was all for nothing. And maybe he just genuinely believes it's not going to work. Maybe we're trying too hard to hate Brennan here or to suspect Brennan.
I have something against him later on, so
do I.
I put all the pieces together.
Yeah, but do you include that if it doesn't, this was all for nothing? Because that is what one of the Venin says in the last chapter.
Yeah.
So it's the same phrase that the Venin has used in the last chapter, but I was bending my brain trying to see how this could be flipped into a bad way, and I just can't see it. I think Brennan seems so legit here, and this is what's confusing me.
For me, there was a couple of things in this scene that confused me. That one, not that much, but what happens after, yes, because he started to ask questions to Violet, and for me, somebody like Brennan, he should know these kind of questions. So when Violet started to imbue the Warzone, like she did with the conduit, you're passing the power little by little, then Brennan started to ask her like things like, how long did it took to the other one to be fully imbued? And she said weeks. He should know that kind of stuff.
I don't know, maybe he just didn't know how much time Violet, Dane and Xaden were spending in the wards.
But he was supposed to be one of the ones who maybe tried to put wards in Aaric. He was the one they said that didn't work. There's something wrong with this stone because
how hard did he try? It's all off page. There's been people saying that as well to us, that he'd already tried to do it, but it's all off page. Like, how hard did he really try? We don't know.
Like what exactly he did to say that he tried. But obviously he was like putting some interest to raise the walls in Aaric. How he's not gonna be interested to see like what is the progress, how much are we be like imbuing, how many people?
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
No, he didn't know anything.
He cared more
about this project, and that's it.
He cared more about the troops on the front line, which kind of makes sense. But actually, if he raised the wards, you don't need the troops.
So yeah, there's some chat here between Brennan and Violet. Brennan said the Warzone looks like the one in Aaric. And Violet said, well, I said that this one was on fire before everything happened. And then Brennan says, iron doesn't catch fire. Which, for me, I was like, okay. Then even Violet said, well, tell that to the Warzone because it wasn't fire.
Yeah.
But it's important that he said that reference, the iron doesn't catch fire, because the reference that we got in the first Warzone in Aaric, like it was like a massive onyx polish or something like this. But I don't know if the material or what it's made of is actually important for the story, like for Brennan to say that iron doesn't catch fire, because iron will melt.
Onyx doesn't catch fire either, does
it?
Exactly. I don't know. Iron has like quite a lot of significance in a lot of fantasy books. Iron is supposed to be depending on which fantasy book you read, but in old folklore, iron was said to protect you against the Fae. There aren't any Fae in this story, but iron is quite a significant material in fantasy books.
Yeah, I was less intrigued about it. Even I did like a little research, like, is it actually there's any chance that maybe iron can catch fire, and it's more likely that it will melt, reach a specific temperature point. Or what about onyx? Onyx pretty much the same. It won't catch fire. So like, okay. So what else could be? It'll be a
rune. It'll be a rune that's sustaining the fire.
The other thing that I learned as well is there's actually no such a thing as a black flame. there's nothing that you can burn. They will make a black flame.
Magic. Burning magic might make a black flame.
Yes, it's about like the colors, because obviously black is, in this case, is not a color because it's not reflecting any kind of lights. So the only way is like if you're doing with smoke, trying to give it the appearance that it's kind of like black, but actually like real light. The flame that you see sometimes like blue, green, red, or other stuff they were burning. There's nothing that makes a black flame.
Interesting.
So she stopped imbuing the stone just to see if it works, and she can feel there's a tiny vibration inside. Then she said that yes, it's holding magic, so it works, but we need people to do this. So Brennan said like, okay, I'll make sure the Mart tells to everyone.
Do you think she will? Come on.
Yeah, it was weird, but
Lilith does come, Mira comes, so maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was some reference that she was like trying to hide from the people that were coming to maybe help to imbue a little bit, which this is another part that we need to talk about sizes again. Well, we'll get that. So there's a reference that Violet said there's like something on the top of the chamber. And she says, get down here. She knows there's Andarna that is there.
Andarna says she's not fond of pits.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I was thinking exactly the same. Like, is there something related when she was inside the egg? There wasn't a pit or something for centuries.
Maybe, or maybe she's just being sassy.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going there just because you want me to go there.
She just likes to argue, so she's, yeah.
Violet is not taking any shit from anybody, so she's saying no. So
dragons don't take orders from riders, do they? From humans, but apparently they do, unless it's Violet. And then they all do.
Violet goes behind the stone because she doesn't want that anyone can see Andarna. So I knew the stone was big, but gosh, has to be like really big to hide a full dragon. And you can't.
Well, no, Andarna hides herself pretty well.
Yes, I mean she can camouflage, but according with Violet, she's just like going behind just to hide her. Andarna goes there, and Violet said, "Why didn't you tell me?" And she was like, "Tell you what?" Like,
only the biggest secret known to dragonkind or unknown to dragonkind.
Yes. So Violet said, like, I know, I should know that you were different. The scale shifting from midnight black to shimmering deep purple happens in this part.
Yeah, I always thought she was a purple dragon. I always thought from the first read through, I was like, Andarna's purple. Is Andarna's natural colour purple, or is it just purple because it's like reflecting the night and she just decides to be purple? If she wasn't trying to camouflage, what would she be? Would she be purple?
I think she is purple because here when Violet says that she is different is when the scales shift from black to purple. So it's like she's not camouflaging anymore. She's just herself. That's what I think. So I think her real color is purple. Violet starts to put all the pieces together, and Andarna says that say it, don't guess it, she demands. And then Violet like, your scales aren't black. And she said, no, but he is. And I so badly want to be just like him.
I know.
For her, what like here they was talking about term. And I find that so sweet as well, but it's just because he sees Tern as just a father, I guess. It would be like the closest thing that she has.
I think so. I was trying to find out what purple is in Scottish Gaelic so that we could take a stab at what the den is going to be called. And I have no idea how to say it, but it's purpaith, maybe. I don't know, purpaid.
Very similar.
Purpaidh. So I wonder if it's like going to be part of the name of the seventh Den of Dragons when we find out. It's quite sweet, that, isn't it? That she reveres Tern so much.
Yes. And she says as well that he doesn't know, that only the elders do. And Andarna is like, well, They waited 650 years to hatch until Violet was 18 when she heard the elders talking about the weakling daughter of their general. The girl forecast to become the head of the scribes.
The heart of a rider, mind of a scribe.
But you know what I was thinking? Obviously, she heard this when she's still in the egg. Where was the egg? Is it maybe like a place when the Imperium had the meetings and they were just talking between them because it's when the elders are talking?
They don't actually talk. They communicate mind to mind. I think she was hearing it in her mind in the egg because she is the representative from the seventh den.
Yeah.
That's my guess anyway. Doesn't matter where she is, she can... Well, maybe like within reason, she could be like, they're in the Vale, she's in the museum at that's Gaia. I think she was in the museum. And that's where Daddy Sorengale was like tinkering around with his research.
I mean, that's an interesting theory, that she was all the time just...
listening to the...
Mm-hmm. I thought they were like maybe just physically. They maybe the Imperium knew what this egg represent. They knew there was like a 7-den dragon, but they never knew when it was going to hatch. And they had like all the meetings there around the egg because the Imperium is like all the priests of the dragons, and they're like representative of the 7-den. So that's how I was like thinking about it.
No, I think it's more of a mind-to-mind thing. I think she's part of the Imperium, but they possibly didn't know about her. She was just listening because she could hear it. It's a very bizarre thing. She waited 650 years to hatch. That's a long, long time. So obviously, I think, maybe.
Obvious, maybe.
She must have been the child, the hatchling child.
Mm-hmm.
Feathertail, hatchling.
Yes.
Of one of the 7th den that raised the original wards. I think her mother... or father was bonded to Lyra. See, I've said this before, but I think that was what happened. And it specifically says that she was left behind to raise the wards. So she said, will you raise the wards? And she said, it's why I was left behind. At least that's what I remember. It has been centuries. And then she says things like, you're as unique as I am. We want the same things. You couldn't have known I would be a rider, says Violet. And Andarna says, and yet here we are. So this feeds the theory that Andarna can predict the future. She knows where she's got to be. She can see the future. It's just like a prophecy egg or a prophecy dragon. She knows exactly where she's got to be all the time.
I mean, there's been a lot of situations where Andarna or she is exactly when she needs to be, and she's the one who makes the difference. And I think the first clue that you should have as well is when Violet is attacked in her room. Xaden is running late to save her. So Tern and Sagela telling you need to go now. He's on the way.
She knows she has to stop time.
She knows that she needs to stop, and she knows exactly the moment when she needs to do it, and Xaden will arrive. Because even Xaden say, if I just a few seconds later, I will be late, and she will be dead. So if she started too early, she will get tired because she can hold it for long, and then Xaden will still know that.
Yeah, but even down to the second, she knows.
Yes. Something
she does say here that makes me kind of laugh a little bit is I feel like maybe Rebecca Yarros trolling us about Violet's second signet. So Violet says, why didn't you tell me? And Andarna says, if you didn't work it out, you weren't worthy of the knowledge. And that's how I feel about Violet's second signet. We can't work it out, so we're just none of us are worthy of the knowledge. Like so many different guesses. It just makes me laugh.
I would be like so disappointed if all the theory that we have said turns out there's none of them. And they're like something that's so obvious, and they're like, oh my God.
It'll be one of them.
But yes, Andarna said she knew Violet will be smart as a scribe and brave as a rider. I was thinking, could be this just like the only condition for this 7th dragon to hatch? Has to be like somebody that's clever as a scribe. boy has to be a rider.
Yeah, but there's got to be more than one, hasn't there? It's got to be like, you've got to have clever riders, surely. In the last 650 years.
Yeah,
no, I think it's the right time.
The thing is, Violet, she was forecast as Markhan, the successor. But she's going to be like the top one. And she was training for being a scribe. She not was like a writer that she just like read and spend time in the archives. No, she was training to be a scribe. And then just 6 months before, she was forced to be a writer.
I think it's more than that. I think Andarna knows everything. I genuinely think Andarna knows how this is all going to end.
Yeah, for me, this just made me think about, there's a theory that I don't know who is saying this, but could be is because the big boss of the Venin, he was before a scribe. And that's the only way that you can defeat this guy. You need somebody.
It was you that said that, wasn't it? General Daramore could be a scribe.
No, I said General Daramore doesn't have to be exactly the bad guy. It could be any other sis. But I said a scribe could be a Venin.
Well, General Daramore could have been a scribe.
Yeah, I didn't say that he would be he was a scribe. I said that, a scribe could be perfectly a Venin as well. I mean, if a flyer, they didn't manage to get the bond flyer.
Oh, a flyer, yeah.
Because right there, if I didn't make it, they die. A flyer, if I didn't make it, he just changed career for Venin, for example. So somebody that had no connection with the magic can turn into a Venin if they had like the right teacher and the right tools, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, I don't think the Venin army could be anyone that's taught to channel. I don't think you have to have a rider bond, do you? Or a flyer? No.
No, the flyer, that's one of my example. The flyer, they were not connected with the griffons to channel directly. Somehow they managed to turn into Venin.
Yeah. So. Scribes could definitely do it. Healers could do it. Right, I think civilians could do it, could they?
I don't know if it has to be, maybe they had to have like a rune or something to start to like getting that connection with magic somehow.
No, because it seems like they didn't have runes before and now they have runes. So that seems like a recent thing.
Yeah, that's happening now with the flyers. So I'm talking like now in this, the time of Fourth Wind and Iron Flame. No, 600 years ago.
Lilith comes in. Lilith says, "Nice to see you, Cam. Your father's been looking for you." How long has Lilith known that Aaric is Cam? I think she's known since threshing. I think since he bonded and she's on the dais and she's like watching them. I think she knew then and she's been keeping it a secret. Just because she says, "Don't care, will it hold power," or whatever.
Before Lila arrives, and this thing that you say as well, there was a reason why Andarna, she was left behind. A lot of people think as well the reason that she said this is because maybe all the 17 dragons, they left the continent. But actually, I'm not sure if that's actually what happens. I'm thinking maybe they just put Andarna as a maybe plan B. Like if something they were planning to do doesn't work against the Venin, Andarna is the last hope to fight against the Venin again. So I'm thinking they could be just because they were fighting and they left behind because they need to face the enemy and someone else go to directly to face General Daramore or all the Venin. They sacrificed themselves or they got killed. So for me, it's not just they just run away. For me, it could be they just trying to do something to stop them. And they got killed because of that. Either because it's hard to sacrifice themselves or because General Daramore managed to kill all of them.
I think there's more of them. I think they left because it says our allies sailed home. I think the dragons went with them, but I don't know. We'll find out in Onyx Storm. It could be any reason. I think she was left behind. She was left behind like a plan B, like you said, in the event that the wards fail.
Yeah. Little strong girl talking to Aaric. I found that very funny as well because he said like, "I'm a Bond the rider." Now he can't say or do anything. I really don't care.
Yeah, don't care.
I'm not here for you. And then when she started asking, like, is it working? It's called power. And Brennan said yes. So Andarna, she leaves because Violet said that I don't trust her talking about her mother knowing about you, which I found it like weird as well. But I guess in this point, she just doesn't trust her mother at all.
No,
like,
she doesn't trust anybody. She cares far more about Andarna than she does about her mum.
Yeah, true. Andarna leaves. Violet's worried about Xaden. Xaden keep her blocked so she can't see what's going on. Turns out that he's still fighting, and even he shows through his own eyes what's going on in the battle. And then she see that Xaden is near the edge of the ravine. She can see that Xaden is losing the fight against the Venin, that he had lost already 2 daggers, and the sage is blocking all Xaden's shadow with a blast of blue daggers of fire.
Yeah, what are they? Blasts of blue daggers of fire?
I took it as this is light against darkness, because how can you stop a shadow with light, I'm guessing?
Yeah, but why has he got this power? Was he a fire wielder previously? Violet is imbuing the stone, and she is going to burn out, and Ten will die. And she's like, I won't give his life, but I can give enough that the riders who make it will finish the job. This doesn't make any sense to me at all, because she dies, Ten's decided he's going to die. So it's saying that she won't give Ten's life, but she's actually about to give his life. Yeah.
She's touching the stone. She is feeling all the power beneath the fingertips. And then there's something weird for me here when she's having with these thoughts that if she just channel from the ground, she can do the job faster and she could save them. She's having these thoughts that she understands why people turn into Venin, because they can feel all this immense power coming from the ground. And I was thinking, is her thoughts right now here, or is maybe she's feeling Xaden's stuff somehow? Because I think in the timeline kind of match and Xaden's point of view when Xaden is basically defeated and he start to see a little bit like the ground. He start to see the power. So I was like, it could be maybe this another hint for her skills to feel what other people feel, because there have been a couple of times when I start to think that maybe she's kind of like intensic, but it's more about feelings.
I see it, but I don't think we can take any hints for Violet's signet from what she's feeling from Xaden. They have a direct connection, and there's always emotions being felt through there. She felt fear. She felt when he was sat on the roof of Ryerson House and she takes him chocolate cake. She knows how he's feeling because she can feel it through the bond. She knows how Ten's feeling because she can feel that through the bond.
Yeah, but at this point she can't know anything about him through the bond because he is blocking her.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking that because the bond is not working right now here, and it's kind of like match at the same time what he's feeling with what she is feeling, like kind of at the same time. That's why I'm thinking it's actually Violet.
Maybe. I think it's Violet though, but
yeah,
like mostly because she's about to burn out and she's not got enough power, and she's like, if she took it from the ground, she wouldn't have to take it all from Ten. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense to me that it's her. But it's a really good thought, like a really interesting thought. So Lilith is trying to get an alternative strategy to Violet dying. So she's asking all the first years if they have a signet. She asks Aaric. He says, hasn't manifested. He answers in a panic. There's a big theory that Aaric is intrinsic because of this line. The receipts stack up. Bookish Kinsey has a really good reel where she's got all the receipts. But in this situation, it's a really stressful situation. He could be panicking because he doesn't want to get found out. His signet hasn't manifested. But also, I do think it's a panic-worthy situation without that. So he could just be panicking because he thinks he's going to lose his friend.
At this point, Violet is on the floor. She's burning out. and everyone is just like, we need to do something because we're losing the war, we're losing Violet. So there's a lot of pressure going on in this environment.
But I do like it. Aaric for me is I'm just tipping to distance wielder, but I keep seeing things about intrinsic and thinking I could be.
For me, the only time when I thought that he actually could be an intrinsic is when he found out that Xaden was the one who killed his brother. How he knew that.
Yeah. So again, that's another one of the points. I also think he could have been, his dragon could have bonded his brother first. We don't know. We don't get confirmation that his brother actually bonded before Xaden killed him, but could have done. Or Sigale could have just been like sitting around in the Vale, blue dragon to blue dragon, being like, you do realise my rider killed your rider, just because Sigale likes to stir the pot. That would be funny, but yeah, so I get why people are saying it. But 10 is getting cross in the meantime. You must save yourself. I chose you not as my next, but as my last. And should you fail, then I will follow. Why would he do this? Why would he die? Can he help it? Or is he's just decided? Or has he not got a choice?
All depends what kind of bond they have, isn't it? We know from the beginning that the bonds that Tarn does, they are really strong. So it's getting stronger every single time he bonds a rider. So the one with Nelly killed him. So this one with Violet definitely will kill him if something happens to Violet.
But it seems like he's just decided that's going to happen, so it will. You know?
There's a lot of things that we don't know about Tarn, like what he appearing now, why Violet, and all this kind of stuff. But I get a feeling that he's kind of like having his last fight. That he lost his rider because of the Venin. We don't know if he actually died because of Venin or because he burned himself saving Brennan, or he actually turned into a Venin and that was Tarn going like,
or he turned
okay,
into Mallet.
that's it. Yes, of course.
So it just doesn't add up. Like, to me, I'm just a bit confused. It's like he's just decided. He's a grumpy old man and he's like, right, this is the last time I'm going to do this. I am too old for this shit. But he's not. He's middle-aged. And he says that to Andarna because he's like, I'm not even old.
I'm too old for deal with children now.
Yeah. Like, no, you do what you do to save the continent. If that means bonding another rider when this one dies, you bond another rider. Stop being such a prima donna. Anyway, Lilith Sorrengail. This bit really makes me laugh, and I don't know why, because it's going to get tragic. But she picks her boot, she like lifts her leg, puts her boot on Violet's shoulder, and then just like kicks her off the stage. I don't know why that makes me laugh so much, but it really does. So she makes impact softly, which is a good thing, I guess. But she kicks with her full strength, sending her sprawling across the chamber floor and breaking her hold on the ward stone. I have a technical question about magic. Why can't the dragon cut off the power? It seems like it is only the rider that can cut off the power.
It's like, it's permanently connected.
The rider can just take what they want.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's just linking it. All the power just goes one way. So it's up to the rider to manage that power coming. But yeah, it seems that basically the dragon can't do anything about just stop the power.
It's quite bad for the dragon, isn't it? Because the dragon could die if the rider burns out. So you'd think that there'd be like a fail-safe where the dragon could also like turn the dial down and stop channeling, or like, I don't know, like Bodhi, just switch it off.
Yeah, break the bond before it happens.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm wrong with this one, so change my mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Obviously not. But Violet manages it, doesn't she? She closes the archives door and shuts the power off.
So there's a new plan here, and now is when Sloan comes to the game. And it's Mami Sorrengail. They're just pushing and pushing, like, Sloan, you had to do it.
She's lying, as she's making herself seem really bad.
And the one who chased your mother, Brennan to here, making kill, and responsible as well as your brother. So she's just like, obviously, given like reasons to hate
Yeah,
her
but
and
she
do
said
it.
she made them watch. She didn't. She's, like we said at the start of the episode, she wrote that.
Yeah, obviously she's doing it just for Sloan to feel range and then just do it.
Yeah.
But Sloan, I feel sorry for her because she's like, Violet, like, oh, what am I gonna do? I don't want to do it, but she's like,
Yeah, I feel sorry for Sloane as well.
She needs to do it.
About forcing the children to watch. I think Daddy Soaringale was executed. I don't think his heart gave out. That's the official version. That's what they wrote down. But I think she might have been forced to watch that. And I know that's really grim and I've got no basis for it and it makes me seem like a sicko, but I think that could have happened. Anyway, she's laying it on thick. Can you hear them dying? But she is speaking in a softer tone than she usually does to Violet, isn't she?
I think maybe she tried like first trying to make her feel angry. When she saw the Sloan is not taking that, she just trying to like, okay, let's talk about it because this needs to happen and you need to do it. So trying to like just convince her that's the right thing to do. And then Violet is like, no, don't do it. I'm going to told to Xaden just to see if he can convince her to not to do it. And then it's when she feels that Xaden is like hopeless. He basically is assuming that he's going to die. He's all burned out. And then she is like, oh my God, Xaden is dying. And then she starts screaming through the bond that you need to fight, you need to fight. And again, here Violet has a test of wyvern that is from Sagel's mount. For me, again, it's just like it's Violet put in the position of the other person that she is feeling or thinking about it or something. So I just found it weird, like kind of like a new signet thing, maybe. In the end, as long as she do it, she started to pass all the power from Lilith to the spell.
I just I got a bit confused too with all the switching places in this bit. Like first she's got a sour taste of wyvern flesh, that like between her teeth. Mm-hmm. Is she 10 there or is she? Oh no, it's Sagale, isn't it? The sour taste of wyvern flesh between her teeth.
Yeah, so it's talking about Sagale. And then when she sees Sagale has like a beer of blood, is what she said. So obviously she's feeling what Sagale is feeling. Yeah,
I agree. There's something weird about that. It all flicks about all over the place, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's something similar with the throne is saying when we thought that she's like having Xaden stuff as well, like in the place of the other person.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it's gonna be like an intense thing or just
could be.
Yeah. Then we had a really emotional moment here with Mami Soranke just on her knees. She doesn't let it go with Sloan hand, passing all the power, and she's just basically saying goodbye to the children. Everything that was done is because they love the children. She's happy that now she's going to see finally her dear husband.
So I think there's more to this. Everything was to get you to this moment when you'd be strong enough. She falls to her knees and doesn't let go of Sloane. Everything was to get you to this moment. So everything, the research, the potential, a prophecy, the decision to put her in the Riders Quadrant, all of the harshness, possibly what she did to save Violet in the womb and Violet got drained, all of that stuff, everything was to get her to this point. I feel like it's more than just some last words to say that she cares about her children. I think it's genuinely everything Lilith has done, and that's some bad things that she's done. And she's got a really bad reputation among the Aaricians. Everything was for this point.
I definitely think that everything looks like a plan that was designed by Daddy Sorangel and the Lilith Sorangel. She just carry on. But then the only thing she say is live well, and those are the last words of Lilith Sorangel. She felt in Brennan's arm, Mira rise, and she started shouting to Sloan, "What have you done?" The Warstone is humming again, it's full of magic.
Sloan looks at her hands. She can't believe what she's done. We had a comment on one of our reels on Instagram. Someone thinks that she now has a room on the palm of her hand because she's looking at her hands. I thought that was cool. I am leaning to the fact that it's more the horror of what she's capable of. But I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I think honestly that she just realized that she just take the life of somebody with her own hands. So I think maybe that's the most shocking part. But it will be intriguing now to see like any reference about Sloan palms or something.
Yeah.
Because there's a room there. Yeah, there's nothing to do here. They had just to leave because now the dragons are going to do their job.
Yeah.
Spit the fire. They go into the tunnel looking for protection. Mira asks to Violet if she's alright. And then here is something that I don't know why nobody is talking about it. Because what it says is, I couldn't stop her. Was that my voice or Brennan's?
Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah, so I was saying all the time that we are suspicious about Brennan. But if this is Brennan's talking, who is he talking? Because I don't think he's talking with Mira. I don't think he's talking by himself. I genuinely think that this is Brennan talking to somebody else from outside, maybe talking to the General Venin, because they are living when the words start to work, or when they are about to work, and he is basically saying, I couldn't stop her. I couldn't stop Violet to bring the words back on.
Yeah, so if we think Brennan's good, not sus, which is not us, but if we were to think that, he could be talking about Sloane. I couldn't stop her from draining my mother because he knew that it had to be done for the wards, or because that's what Lilith wanted, or he still hadn't forgiven his mother. So that could be about Sloane. But he could be defending his actions in helping to raise the wards. Like, I couldn't stop Violet from raising the wards. That's what he could be telling somebody else. This is another hint that potentially she's intrinsic. And I know I've said, I want her to be a truthsayer. I want her to be a like badass truthsayer that you cannot lie to, and she will get the truth. But this is another one that's pointing to intrinsic because she doesn't know if it was her voice or Brennan's. Does that mean it was in her head?
I'm not thinking Brennan is the bad guy. I think Brennan is like another victim that he has to work for the Venin for some reason, maybe because the run
the link with Nailin. The link with Nailin.
But I found this scene really suspicious, and it's something that we had to mention.
Yeah, me too. And you know who we're not going to find out any information from? Mob, because Mob is not keen on details. I have a few things to say about Brennan's reaction to his mum dying. He kind of is like, Mum, he whispers, his face crumpling as he looks down at her. Is he seeing that she wasn't all bad because she died to save them all? Mm-hmm. Or is he like crumpling because the wards are up? Is his face crumpling? Because we know that he didn't really care about his mum 24 hours ago. He thinks that she sent him to die. Is it because the wards are up now and because of her? And he's like, oh, damn it. I failed, but I don't know, because he repaired the ward stone. It doesn't make any sense for him not to, surely it would have been a lot easier if he'd have just been like, can't do it, failed.
So much stuff I can't do it, yeah.
That's the bit that keeps me coming back to the fact that he just seemed, why would he have mended it if he didn't have to? It doesn't make sense. Is it because she told him to? It was a command, and Violet got this, people wielding signet, like Felix said. You wielded Xaden at that moment.
Yeah.
And
people do whatever she wants, even with the sickness. That way we thought it was a manifesting wielder.
But what would the checks and balances be for that? With the time manipulation thing, the checks and balances is it tired Andarna out. There's magic always demands a balance. If she could just tell people what to do and they did it, I mean, game over, surely. You've got to have something that counters that. Anyway.
Body.
Yeah, good point. Also, I just wanted to go into a bit about what happened. So Sloane siphons the power, moves the power from Aimsa, drains it basically from Aimsa and Lilith, and puts it into the stone. There is a big theory that Lilith was Venin. She turned Venin. There's a few hints at this. Presentation, where Violet's telling the story about the time that they were on an eastern outpost, which is on the side of the continent that they're most likely to encounter Venin. She comes back with bloodshot eyes. Violet thinks she's Venin, but turned out she's just tired. There's something that happened there. Something happened. I think Lilith channeled at that point. I also think something happened to her while she was in the womb, and perhaps that's when she turned to save her unborn child. And that's why in the epigraph of the next chapter, we get, you know that I would die to save my children. Then I genuinely believe that a siphon can return stolen magic. They can move magic from one place to another without channeling from the source. I just believe that Lilith died having had her soul restored because she returned the stolen magic to the stone, to the earth. And that's what I believe happened with Naelin and Brennan. I think Brennan was the Venin and Naelin returned the stolen magic. So something about siphons that is going to save the Venin. I think Sloane's going to save Xaden.
For me, there's a couple of issues with that, and just because Jack Barlow, and it's going to be in the last chapter, they will see that when he said that you can restore something that you stole.
I don't believe a word that arsehole says. So yeah, I can't.
No, you just.
It doesn't change my
what
mind.
You want to believe. That's it.
No, I just don't believe Jackass Barlow. If I'm going to believe anyone, it's not going to be him.
The sun is burning with an iron flame on
Why
top.
is it so exciting when the name of the book gets dropped in the text? I know it's not the first time because we're like, and set the stone of a light in a iron flame. But every time it says it, I'm like, yeah.
Yes, and that is just what is left of Violet's mother. That's the end of the chapter.
I just want to say about this, like I've got to say it in the next chapter as well when Rhiannon comes and she finds out, but we listen to both the books and we read the books.
Yes.
And Rebecca Soler, the narrator of Fourth Wing and Iron Flame and Onyx Storm, is just brilliant. Like, the emotion that she puts in, I cry every time when Lilith dies.
Definitely not just a narrator. She's putting like a lot of feelings.
She is an actor, actually. I follow her on Instagram.
Okay. Chapter 65.
Yep.
Epigraph.
Yes. Most generals dream of dying in service to their kingdom, but you know me better than that, my love. When I fall, it will be for one reason only, to protect our children. Recovered, unsent correspondence of General Lilith Soaringale.
Unsent.
Yeah. Lilith is such a complicated character. She says one thing and does another in so many cases, like where she says she was responsible for the marked ones witnessing their parents' execution, but she wasn't actually responsible for that. And Xaden calls her a monster, so we just don't know. But she then says that everything she does is for her children.
I think she's just another Xaden. She's just willing to do whatever it takes to protect the people that she loves. And the children are the people that she loves the most. They live in the chamber. First thing that she checks is that if Xaden is alive. So she got the confirmation from there that yes, he is alive.
Yep. And she says, "Thank you, Dune." Which to me feels odd again. It's Dune, and Dune is the one that I suspect. I'm going to swing all over the place here because one minute I think that Xaden's mum is a Venin. The next minute I think Xaden's mum is Dune. But I'm going to go down the Dune track here. She would thank Zanal, and there's several times where you'd think she should thank the god of luck. And even when they're climbing the cliffs of Draelor, she says as much. She says, I should be thanking Zanal, but I'm not. I'm going to thank Dune. I'm going to build Dune a bigger temple in Erasure. And she's thanking Dune that Xaden's alive. And again, I just think that's the link between Dune and Xaden. It shouldn't be Dune that she's thanking. And she could be, because she's the goddess of war.
Obviously, it was with the riders, with the Venin. So I'm guessing that's why I said the thanks Dune. I mean, they're like giving the favor to the riders to win.
Yeah, in the war. Yeah.
Yeah.
And rather than luck. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Dane comes over. Bearing in mind at this point, he's been drained nearly. He's got his arms been drained. and he lifts his arm to reach for her, but then thinks twice. And that's obviously because he doesn't want her to think that he's reading her memories. I really think Dane is ultimately good. This is the bit for me that makes me think he is actually now good. Do you think he's good?
We've been talking about him so much. The bonus episode that we're going to release soon, we're talking about Dane and Taylor Swift songs that Rebecca Yarros are comparing.
Yeah.
So that actually made me change a little bit my perception about Dane. So I'm thinking that, he's being used, that he's not bad because it's his nature. It's just that he's being like a puppet, really bad hands.
I think he's got more to do to prove he's good. And I've said this several times, but I really think he's going to have to slay his own dragon because Kath is bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Dane's trying to do the right thing. Riddick is all right. Imogen took a bit of an injury on her side, but she's not complaining. Quinn has busted her cheek. Ree's about to ask her if she wants to go with her, but she can tell something's wrong with Violet. So she automatically assumes that it's Xaden. She can't even get her sentence out. She can't. She's obviously heartbroken that she's lost her mother. This is the bit where I just want to say, like, Rebecca Soler is just amazing. When she's Ree and they have a hug, and it's just so sad. It's really, really sad. The bit that jumps out to me in this part, though, is she's looking around and she can see everyone, but Mira is nowhere to be seen. Where did Mira go? My guess is that she's gone to find out some more things about her mum, or she just can't cope.
I thought that she might be like hiding because she doesn't want anybody to see her actually crying.
I picture her just crying at General Sorrengel's desk. I feel like maybe she's gone to be close to where, because she was the one that was most like her mother, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was respected by her. I could properly picture her just crying at General Sorrengel's desk. If she is there, though, she might find that missive that says that she was recommended for the Star of Navarre, but her mum only gave her the Order of Talon. Awkward.
What stuff there we're seeing around, a part of the wyverns fallen, all the dead people around. It's as well the negotiations between Merlin and the Vera.
There's a few things we know from the excerpt from Onyx Storm that was published in Cosmopolitan and Vanity Fair. Mm-hmm. And we know that a few people get promotions. That could be what De Vera is part of what De Vera is negotiating. She's Major now, Major De Vera, isn't she?
Yes.
So I wonder if there's some kind of we keep our ranks kind of deal going on. And the first lieutenants get promoted to second lieutenant. Yeah, the bodies of wyvern that you mentioned, it says that littered the ground with a few colours mixed in, but she doesn't recognise any of the dragons. I think that is there just to show that the death toll is really significant, but we don't have any first-hand heartbreak. Mm-hmm. We've just lost Lilith. We're just about to find out the twist of all twists, and we can't deal with any more first-hand heartbreak by coming in the form of her recognizing a dragon that she knows the rider's dead.
She needs to go to see Xaden. She found out that Xaden is still in the ravine with his toes over the edge.
Yeah, what is it with Xaden and hanging off the edge of things that are really tall? I mean, he can shadow wield, so he's not going to fall, is he? But he obviously just really likes hanging over the edge of tall things.
Kind of like a Batman complex or something.
Yeah.
It's always really hard.
And Sigale is still protecting Xaden at this moment. She's like the gatekeeper, and she's saying, be careful of your words. And there's a bit of humour there where Violet replies with, that's ironic coming from you. But Rebecca Yarros in a few interviews has said that Sigale is really pissed with Xaden, but doesn't seem so at this point. At this point, she's
caring about him,
protecting him. So she's really pissed, but she is also like, he's my rider. I'm not going to let Violet say anything that's going to upset her.
I don't know if it's because maybe she thinks the Violet is not going to react very well and going to start shouting, like, angry with him or something, like, why you do this when we are fighting against this and you turn in one of them or something like this. And Sigel know that he did for exactly that reason,
For
fighting
her.
against, and then save her.
Maybe she blames Violet. Maybe when she says Sigel is pissed, she doesn't just mean at Xaden, she means at Violet as well.
But then she goes to talk to Xaden. Xaden is just giving the back, and he's talking with no emotions at all.
Yeah, he says he killed the general. Do you think he did kill the general?
I was thinking about it, like, when he says that, because he said that he just, I know that he's in the bottom, that he's like feet and feet under the water, that he's not coming back. What he did to kill him? Did he use his power with the super shadows and kill him?
He had a third dagger, didn't he?
Yes, but when he said that actually, yes, I killed him, he is actually sure that he killed her, or he's just assuming because maybe a staff can fall in the water, he's not coming back, so is he dead?
I just don't. Yeah, I just don't know that he would just throw him in the water. He's a Venin. He would stab him first, wouldn't he? And that's the thing. It's so frustrating that this happened off page. I wonder if we'll get a flashback of it. But even Xaden himself doesn't really believe that he's killed him because he says he keeps expecting him to pop back up. But even if he does, it'll be like way further down the ravine by then.
Yeah.
But he says he snapped whatever tether he had on me. So whatever he has done has got him out of his head. But has he just got out of his head because he's now Venin?
Yeah, I found that really suspicious as well. So obviously there was something going on before. And now just because his channel is not there anymore, it's because maybe he doesn't need it anymore. Because now they can have like free talks Venin to Venin.
But can they? We don't know that they can. There's a bit of a misconception with the hive mind. They said that when we had it, we were a bit confused. We thought that Venin had a hive mind. But actually it's just between the Venin and the wyvern that they create. That's all we know.
Yeah.
So if we go back to our speculation at the beginning of the episode, and this general was his granddad, and he was still bonded, still had a way of communicating with Sigel, that could be, if he's dead, that's now broken. I'm always suspicious, like you, I'm suspicious of deaths that happen off the page. He's not going to be on the death roll, is he, this guy? Because, no.
For me, the really suspicious thing is that, okay, we saw the fight. Xaden was no match for this guy. He was just playing with Xaden. He was like pushing it to turn in. So for me, it's really hard to believe that, yes, Xaden got the boost because he started to channel from the ground. And then he just managed to kill this guy that he was so powerful. So
the way I see it happening, and maybe I really want to see this scene. Maybe I'll write a fan fiction. I won't. But I see him like, it says I reach. I think he like, his shadows are just too weak, aren't they? Because he's running out of power. He channels, it strengthens his, from the ground, it strengthens his shadows. I think he like pins the guy down. We know he's got a third dagger because two of the daggers are behind him. Mm-hmm. I think that allows him to reach for the dagger and when he's pinned him down and then kicks him over the ravine. But that's how I see it playing out if he does in fact kill him. But he's like the big boss guy, isn't he?
Yes.
Is he dead? If he's dead, then who becomes the big boss?
But
Colonel Atos.
It's what I'm thinking. That it was like too easy for Xaden once he turned into a Venin, because right now at this point he's just first stage on the Venin. He's an Ascent, I think it's called. He's a general, so he has to have way much more power. So when Xaden was fighting against this guy, he was just laughing at Xaden. So even if his power goes double, I still thinking the general should be more stronger to like get rid of the shadows and faster. But he got stuff and then he just fall. For me, he has just one mission. He accomplished the mission and then he just disappeared.
Yeah, but I think shadow wielders are like the second most powerful signet ever. I think this guy's a fire wielder. I think he can wield like fires in the shape of daggers and stuff. That's like a fire wielder is not going to beat a shadow wielder, even a strong fire wielder. And Xaden is an incredibly strong, controlled, powerful shadow wielder. So just channeling from the earth and getting the boost that he needed, I think a shadow wielder could defeat him. I mean, I'm purely speculating this guy's a fire wielder just because he's throwing flame daggers.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter how many times you've channeled from the ground. Your power is still only as powerful as it is. He's a general, so he's got there somehow. I feel like Xaden could defeat him. Xaden says he didn't want Lilith dead, but obviously that just seems like because he doesn't want Violet to hurt. Not that he actually cared about Lilith.
He knows that Violet is suffering because of that, and that's it. That's the only thing that he might feel like he's sorry about.
Yeah. So Xaden is quite clearly avoiding her gaze. He's not looking at her.
He asked her, "You love me?" She's like, "Well, yeah, of course. Like, what's going on? Why are you like acting so weird?"
Yeah, get away from the edge of the ravine and look at me. When he finally does, I gasp, my hand tightening on his in reflex. No, that single word is all I can think, feel, scream internally as I stare up at the man I'm hopelessly in love with. Me, he whispers, a faint, almost indistinguishable red ring emanating from his gold-flecked onyx irises. You should be scared of me. Xaden is Venin!
Need to do it with more passion, like, me. You should be scared of me.
I think he's like, I picture him being a bit like down about it, like all morbid and down because he's, oh my God. How did you feel when you first read that?
I wasn't expecting that at all. I was thinking everything could happen except this.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, because obviously we had just a massive fight about Venin against riders. And then one of the most powerful riders.
The leader of the rebellion.
Yeah. So like everything is done to save Violet, to save Navarre and everything. And then Xaden just decide to turn into a Venin. I was like, now what's going to happen?
Yeah, interestingly, it was going to be Violet that turned. And it must have been, possibly, it could have been in the moment where she was trying to raise the wards. But Rebecca Yarros made the decision, or the editor convinced her to make Xaden, which changes things. Surely changes things.
Yeah.
I was driving to work while I was listening to the end of Iron Flame on Audible. I thought it was amazing. My first reaction was like, no, yes. And then I was seal clapping on the steering wheel. I was like banging the steering wheel, being like, oh my God, this is amazing. Story-wise, it's amazing. Like love life-wise, it's absolutely terrible. The man you're in love with has just sold his soul for more power, essentially. But he did it for good reasons. Did he? Yeah. So... So I think like story-wise, I can't imagine a better ending than this. It is terrifying and it's like a massive cliffhanger, but I've got no doubt that there will be a cure and he will die a restored man, a whole man.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that is at a very healthy old age after a peaceful time living with the woman he loves. I don't know, but I have no doubt that Violet will find a way to bring him back.
If she doesn't, Rebecca Yarros is going to lose a lot of people. If Xaden dies as a villain or as a Venin. Ready for the last chapter, chapter 66? Xaden.
Imagine if the book had just ended on that. And that was like the cliffhanger. But actually, what Rebecca Yarros did, because she probably knew how bad everyone would be with her if she did that.
I genuinely think that she cares a lot about the reader because me, as an author, I think, boom, I cut it here and I leave it like this. You deal with that as you can because for me, that's like just the perfect cliffhanger. Just leave it like that, not give more details.
Yeah, but she's given us so many clues in chapter 66, the POV
for
one.
me, obviously, when you start this new point of view of Xaden, like, oh, well, they're together, so it's not that bad. Thank God. For me, like, oh, well, you're taking like the pressure or the end of the cliffhanger. That was maybe I'm more meaning as a writer.
So I think the editor did that as well. So Rebecca Yarros had originally, I think she's confirmed that she'd originally written the conversation, and that's how the book was going to end. Mm-hmm. That gives me hope that the end is going to be fine. The end is going to be fine. It'll be heartbreaking on the way, and we will cry real tears. But she does have... I do think her books are, they're totally not the happy ending that you were expecting, but they are, I mean, they're excellent endings. Like, I would describe them as happy endings. They're just not the happy ending that you were expecting, but it isn't an unhappy ending. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it was the editor's decision to remove that and just have the POV. I really want that missing scene. I want to know how they talked about this. I know that Violet previously promised that she would always go back to talk it out, or fight it out. I wonder what made her casually feel like they could just go to bed. Anyway, the epigraph. We have tried every method we know of, as you requested. There is no cure. There is only control. Missive from Lieutenant Colonel Nolan Colbacy to General Lilith Soaringale. Who is this referring to? Herself? No. Daddy Soaringale? No. Brennan? No. Who is it referring to? We know that it is not referring to Jack, because while Lilith Soaringale is referred to as General, Nolan is referred to as Lieutenant Colonel Nolan. And we know he is now Colonel Nolan, right?
Yeah, Colonel.
So it is some time ago. It is pre-promotion. So we know it's not Jack. So who is it?
An intrigue about Brennan, because my first thought was Lilith. The ones that is orange girl died, he was like the one who was given maybe a temporary solution for the Venin stuff. And then after he died, she had to find somebody else to help her. And then Nolan was maybe doing a potion or something about it. They were like experiments. So I was thinking at the beginning there was Lilith, that she need to control it. But actually it could be Brennan as well, because we know from the beginning that he was somebody that when he feels the power and the palm of her hand, there's something really addictive. Mm-hmm. So why not find a major power on the ground?
I think it makes a lot of sense that it's Brennan, because I mean, we're speculating massively that we don't know that Brennan was Venin, but we know that Fen fired an arrow at him for a reason. I don't think Fen would have just gone around killing people. I think even if he was threatened, I think he was reserving his kill shots for Venin. I don't know why. I just feel like that. So the fact that Brennan is convinced that she sent him to his death, the fact that we know that Nolan and Brennan could have been close, I just feel like it makes a lot of sense that it could be referring to Brennan. Question is, did Daddy Soaringale know that Brennan had turned? And that's why I started to freak out.
For me, there's two possibilities about it. Daddy Soaringale found out that his son died because this fight against Venin, or when Fen Ryerson was being interrogated, he said that he killed Brennan because he had turned into a Venin. So could be that maybe he felt guilty, and then when the heart started to fail, and then he started to focus and finding a cure for that, because he's not going to let that happen again to any of the children. So could be both ways.
Yeah.
Any of those.
And I went back and read the first reaction when Lilith saw that he was there. Mm-hmm. And her eyes widen in shock. Obviously, she thought her son was dead. But she's still, she's like, he's alive. If I can't, you can't judge the reactions of any mother, because everyone has a different relationship with their children. But if my child, if I was told that he was dead, and then 6 years later, I found out he was alive, nothing would stop me getting to him. I would be running faster than I've ever run towards him and giving him the biggest hug. Mm-hmm. And I'd be crying my eyes out. But she's a general. We know that she has her control. She knows what she's got to do. Could she have been shocked because she knew that he was Venin, and she's like, either there's a Venin in the ranks.
We're back to the old problem or something like this. Brennan alive.
Yeah, but then we also have the speculation that Lilith was a Venin, so the missive could be equally about her. We're not going to know until we find out more of the backstory.
Yes.
If we find out more of the backstory, particularly if it's Brennan, we have got to find out more about what happened with Naylan and Brennan, haven't we?
I think we need to get more details. Not sure if it's going to be Onyx Storm, the one who's going to provide all of that, but it's just too many things. The rune and the hand for Brennan, how he came back to alive.
Why has she not?
From.
Tan tends to avoid the subject, but Tan knows everything. He knows what happened because he was bonded to Naylan. Yes. So Gale must know too, because she's bonded to Tan. He would have told her. Why isn't... I mean, she doesn't want to upset her dragon, and he says we'll no longer talk about them. But if it was me, I'd be constantly like trying to catch him off guard. I'd just be like, what happened to Naylan? You know, like when Violet is asking questions to Xaden in Fourth Wing and in Battle Brief. She's like, what's your favourite food? That kind of thing. I'd be like firing loads of questions at Tan, and then every now and again being like, oh, what happened with Naylan and Brennan?
Yeah. How he managed to bring them back to life.
Yeah. Did he even bring him back to life?
Siphon, how he did that.
Did Brennan even die? Like those kind of questions. This missive is so interesting, and it shows that Lilith Sorengale had a vested interest in finding a cure. So we start the chapter in the scene. We get to relive
the fight against the sage.
But not all of it, just the bit when he turns. So he wore him down for fun. He knew that nobody is a match for him. What he thinks is the sage, he describes him as the sage throughout until the sage, in air quotes, turns out to be a general or a maven. I was convinced that it was Naylan at first when I first read this. I'm not now, but the thing that made me think it was Naylan was because he says, it hurts, doesn't it, nearing burnout. We know that Naylan burnt out, or that's what we hear, or nearing burnout. But actually, it doesn't confirm that it's Naylan. What it does confirm is it was a rider. We know that only riders burn out, I guess. Or flyers might.
I'm not sure about the flyers because obviously they don't have to deal with the same power that a dragon gives. So, not sure on that one.
No, but it does confirm that it was a rider, sorry. The general says, magic does like everything in balance. Take too much and she'll consume you for overstepping. I've got nothing more to say about that because we talked about things being in balance. Apart from, I really like the personification of magic. So, take too much and she'll consume you for overstepping. It makes it like a person. Yeah. I really like that type of writing.
At this point, the general is basically laughing outside that. So it's you strike, I block. You throw, I dodge. Though he signs, dragging his staff in the dirt behind him. Just like my fucking nightmares. Same nightmares as Violet.
Obviously, he's already admitted before he's having nightmares, but it does feel like he was having the same type of nightmares as Violet.
I definitely think there's something going on between Violet and Xaden being chased by Venin. I don't know if this one was the only one chasing Xaden, because at least Violet case was two. So the original one, I still think there has to be General Darmor, or one of the 650 years ago.
I do, one of the first 6.
Yes, then this one, I think he came more as maybe intrigue about Violet, that why she is so special. He wants to just have a look, but it was the same scenario. So it was the same place in every single nightmare for Violet. So I don't know if for Xaden was again same nightmare happening over and over and over and with the same guy.
It seems like he had a deeper connection with this one, and that's why I'm now leaning to it being his granddad. But the one that started it all off was like, join me and live beyond the ages, or I've waited centuries for a power like yours. That isn't Xaden's granddad, because he's only been dead 50 years. We know that the army has several generals, so you might have General Daramore, who is the equivalent of Melgren. Then you might have General Granddaddy Xaden, because we don't know if it's mum's side or dad's side. But the thing here that makes me think it could be mum's side is he says, "You don't know shit about me." Xaden stumbles to his feet and falls again, landing on his knees while Sigil's been attacked up in the sky. He says, "I know more than you think." And that, for me, links to possibly the fact that it's either Granddad Xaden, and there's such a big theory that his mum is a Venin and that's why she left. And it could be that's why he knows, because there's a close connection there. I really want Xaden's mum to be Dune, the goddess of war. I don't want Xaden's mum to be Venin, but I can see it happening. It wasn't my original thoughts, and I've just seen it so many places that I'm starting to think, yeah, it could be. But I'll be so sad if that's the case. It could also be that he knows more, because if it is Granddaddy Xaden, then it could be through the bond with Sigil. Or if it was Naelin, and we go back to the fact that he says it hurts nearing burnout, could he still be bonded to Ten and he knows more about him through that? So yeah, there's so many questions. But he's definitely a general, and that to me suggests he's older. We don't know how old Naelin is, but we have all but confirmation, from Rebecca, that Brennan and Naelin were romantically linked. It doesn't mean there isn't an age gap, but the fact that he's a general makes me think he's an older person.
Well, Xaden says, you know me why? Because you're a sage. And then he laughs, "A sage? I'm a general." Excuse me?
Yeah, how offensive.
Dare you?
I mean, they don't wear badges, do they, obviously? They don't even wear the same clothes.
Yeah, well, how are you going to recognize who is who? But then he says just, "Fuck you." And then he throws himself to the bone and feels Violet. And he can feel that she's burning. And she's intending to. And then he says, "My shadow's asleep." But the general doesn't move.
Yeah, the fact that he refers to intending to here, that's Violet sending her intentions down the bond. She's intending to die for them all. And that is the tipping point, I think, for Xaden, isn't it? Where he's like, no, she's not dying.
Yeah, I need to do something because she's going to die.
Yeah, but what is he going to do? General Sorengel is about to do the best thing and just kick her in the shoulder. It's still so funny. Yeah. But he is going to turn so that he does, because the alternative for Xaden right now is death. I don't think Xaden had another choice. I don't think he had another choice. What was he going to do? Die? Just like Violet. But he wasn't dying to save anyone. At least Violet was dying, intending to die to imbue the ward stone. She was actually doing something. He would just given up. He would have just had to have given up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was thinking as well that because it's fighting against a general. If he kills the general, then the Venin, it will have no commands or will have nobody to lead them.
That's a good point, maybe.
The battle. Plus, we don't know if there's some wyvern that maybe the general made and then they will die as well. What happens if you are a Venin and your teacher or the one who make you a Venin dies? Would you die as well, like the wyvern or something?
I don't think so, but maybe. The thing that gets me is that this general clearly isn't the big bad guy, because he doesn't just die, or he's not dead. I know we've talked about this in the other chapter, but there's something going on. And he's saying basically, "I'll just kill you and then I'll go and get Violet." This is bluffing, because they don't want to kill Violet. They've been given orders not to kill Violet, but he's just saying what needs to be said.
Sometimes there's some Venin, there's they want to kill Violet, or they don't care if a Violet die. And then there's the other ones, they want to protect her, or they want to take them to the big boss. So I don't know if maybe they're different kind of Venins with different goals. There's just because you are a Venin doesn't mean that you are part of the same group. That you could have maybe factions of Venin as well with different objectives. And there's one that wants Violet to wield her power, and there are other ones that just want to destroy her because they see her as a menace to the Venin kind.
And then there's some that have turned for love and they're not as bad and they're fighting for the other side. So Sigale shrieks, "You cannot! I chose you!" Like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You are the chosen one!
Yeah. And he says, "But Violet chose me too." We've previously speculated that she might not have been talking to Xaden here. She might have been talking to the general, if that was Granddaddy Xaden. But the flow of the thinking is quite clear to me that she's talking to Xaden. And he reaches. I am really gutted that we don't get the end of the fight or the conversation. I do want to see that written. I want the missing bits.
Yeah, the only thing that we got is that he starts to feel like that relief. They feel the power going through the veins, through the body. He can feel all of this. And that's it. We don't get more details about what happened right after that.
I really hope we get a flashback in Onyx Storm.
Yeah, I think it will be a waste of a scene if you don't put it somewhere.
Yeah, or even if like
he talking about it,
he tells
recreating the same again.
Yeah, maybe we could just get Violet talking to her friends about what happened, the conversation, or even Tan or Andarna.
That is the end of the nightmare, let's go to say, and then he just wake up.
Violet casually sleeping next to a Venin. We had Rebecca Yarros saying a few times in interviews that she doesn't know why everyone's so worried. Violet and Xaden are really tight by the end of Iron Flame, and this is what she means. They're sleeping in the same bed. Obviously something's happened. That's fine. They're fine. And he's talking about how she lost her mother today and he's not going to mourn the loss of Lilith, but he can't stand the pain that Violet's suffering. And yet I'm about to be the biggest cause of it. Is this just because he's Venin or because he's going to do something else? He says, I'm about to be the biggest cause of it.
At this point, maybe he starts to actually feeling there's things changing on himself. And I think that's like the first thing that motivates to go to talk to somebody that's already on this.
He can feel the magic and he wants to draw it.
Yeah, so maybe he starts to feel the hunger that he wants more. And then he starts to see like, shit, this is no joke.
Yeah.
I'm losing it, or I know that it will reach the point that I won't be able to control it.
He sidesteps two drunken infantry cadets as he gets out of bed. He goes for a little midnight walk. Am I being a killjoy here? Do you not think it's a bit risky getting drunk just after this? Like, you don't know if another wave is going to come.
They have wars now. Nothing will happen in the last, 650 years when there were wars. So I think right now everyone is like, oh, we're back to normal. Yeah. We might not kill all the Venom, but they can't come back here. So
there's 3 more books left, guys. To tell the infantry cadets that there's 3 more. They've got to survive at least 3 more books.
Well, precisely they had to be drunk now.
Yeah, maybe.
Will die in the next one.
Maybe I'm being a bit unsympathetic here. That they've just fought a war. Maybe they do deserve a bit of celebration. You don't have to get drunk, do you? Let's have a bit of a drink and a relax and go to bed, which is what I'd be doing. Right, so he slips by the guards unnoticed because what's happening here is his signet has been boosted. Even though he's not channeling from the ground right now, he's channeling from Sigale. Even under the wards, it seems to be stronger, which is the thing for me. And I think I've had this conversation with a few people, definitely Lishful Reading on Instagram and Molly After Midnight had some thoughts on this. And I think that if you were a rider, you had a Venin, you had a signet beforehand, and they're still able, and you still have a dragon, you're still able to manifest within the wards because you're channeling from the dragon. Even if you're trying to channel a little bit, you can do lesser magic, which is what Jack says with the signet. But this really made me think about Jack, and I just wanted to have a bit of a chat about Jack. We don't know what his signet was. We've never had confirmation or whether he actually had one. My thinking flip-flops between I don't think he actually manifested one because he became Venin before Violet manifested. A few others had, but he didn't necessarily. And I think once he channeled, maybe you don't get one. Or he has a pain. That was my other thinking is that he can inflict pain because that's what he did to Violet on the mat. But I just want to read some of the theories that we got from people today. Right, we got a lot, so I'm going to whiz through these. Maxman475, similar to Varish, he could see or sense weakness, which is why Varish made Nolan mend him. So there was like a sympathy thing there.
Yeah.
JC San, 1985. He's a pain wielder. It's really painful to read about him. I do think pain wielder is a good one, though, because that's what he does on the map.
Yeah.
RM Reagan, whatever it is, leadership must think it's important. Why spend all the time trying to mend him? We think he's an important person. I'm not sure if it's about Signet, but it is so cool to think. I hadn't even thought of that. That could be a reason why.
Yeah.
SV545, can it just be inflicting pain? Why was everyone hurting when they tried to pull him off Violet? Otherwise, I would have thought he could be pulling from Violet since she is power. Interesting. I do think pain is like that is, I was having a great conversation with Lishful reading today about this, and I do think we kind of were like, yeah, pain is what he's needed at his core, but we flip-flopped like between those three things. Sorry, I'm going to butcher all these names. Genlino 811, just being a major ass. I mean, he's really good at it. Definitely. I agree with that one. The.book.sage. Does he have one, or did it go away when his dragon died? That's a really good point. We don't know. If dragons die and the venom stays alive, does he even have a signet anymore? Yeah, such a good question. Kelsey Lawson, isn't it pain projection? Grace Love and Sunshine, I think. Maybe combat related, extra strength, speed when sparring. Great. Or her same person. She said tingly fingers. Tingly finger wielder. And K-Tax Smith. No, but I just noticed the first assassin Atos sent during assessment day was also Venin. Yes, he had. Red Rim dies. Mystic 358, pain projection. Scannigian. He is a siphon. She felt something pulling in her chest when they were fighting in Fourth Wing. Sammy Lynn, pain projection. Kylie Barbin. I don't think he ever manifested one because he was Venin. That was my original thought as well. I agree with Kylie there. Book Corner Haven. He doesn't have one now that his dragon is dead. It's an unhinged theory I have. You never know. Yeah, I agree. There's that bookish is better, intrinsic, and a hiding behind Eye's face. Projection, pain projects is Steph JG92. Oh, Steph adopted me when we went to see Rebecca Harris in London. I met her in the queue. Projection, pain projection of some type, but is this just the venin in him? Salmon Marks, he shouldn't have one anymore since he killed his dragon, right? He just had venin power. Stephanie Hoff, electricity. Lost in reading.sam, not staying dead. Yeah, definitely. Shelves 815, inflicting pain or some sort of torture, kind of like Jane from Twilight. Oh, spoiler. Oh, yeah, she's terrifying, isn't she? That's Dakota Fanning. She's terrifying. Book meets meme. Does he have one since his dragon is dead and can't channel to him? That's a theme. We're getting that a lot. Just a bookster girly. Does he even have one anymore? That Vader's no longer channeling. Drea_G. Panty snatcher. That one really made me laugh. Where's _Batman_Robin? He's a siphon of sorts. It was mentioned when he took Vi on the mat. Yeah, there's a couple of people have said that, but it could be that he's just draining them like Dane, because he drained Dane, didn't he, a bit? Again, mindfully undersaw living, siphon. He seemed to siphon power from Violet and the Ward Stone. Again, I think that might be the Venin pulling, but no.
I understand that a different way, but once you finish with this, I'll give you my takeaways from that.
All _things_books_1. I don't think he has one anymore because he killed his dragon, so he can't channel. So we had like the same things that I was already thinking.
Yeah.
A few different ones like Panty Snatcher.
That's a new one. Yeah.
Just not dying. And yeah, just conversation I had at Lishful Reading. The conversation I was having with Lish was that Originally, she thought it was maybe distance wielding or precognition. The precognition one was interesting because that's what he says in Kaori's class. He says to Violet, I'm not the one who thinks precognition is a thing. And he could be like seeing things happen. And distance wielder was one where that's how it could have got saved under the rocks as well. That would be really bad if he was a distance wielder. But then we were like throwing around my theories around him not having actually manifested one.
Yeah.
And also the pain thing. And like, they could all be true. We don't know.
For me, I have a few thoughts about this. So we know that when they were fighting in Fort Wayne, Jack and Violet, yes, we saw that something was happening there. But Violet said that she was feeling pain. Then in Iron Flame, we found out that yes, he is officially a Venin. She said that yes, I didn't notice by then, but he was pulling power through my body. So he wasn't like taking the power of her. He was like putting power on her. So it was like channeling the power and just giving it to her.
Directly from the ground.
Yes. But there's a few things that I'm not sure about this because obviously he can't do that much stuff when it's inside the walls. And obviously when they were fighting the mud, they were inside the walls. So they said that, yeah, they just can channel enough to just keep doing it, keep going. But can he actually channel that much to like give power to her like he was doing it? Because apparently the only thing that you can do is just like maybe some laser magic, some minor things. And what he was doing to Violet was big stuff. So for me, that's actually maybe it was his signet working there.
Was it power like Violet's?
Well, when you think about Jack's core, his ambitions, he's seeking for power. What was the reason when he was for treasure, he was looking for Tern? He wants Tern because Tern was like the biggest...
The most powerful one.
Yes, one of the most powerful dragons. Once he realized that he didn't get it, that he was getting a small orange one, he knew that he would be limited because the dragon. Then he said, no, I'm not taking it. I'm going to now channel from the ground. I'm not going to let that dragon decide my limits. I will decide it. And then he started to channel from the ground. So I think even when he was channeling from the ground, I don't know what happened first, the signet or he channeling from the ground. But I think his signet has to be related to power. And then he is moving power like a siphon, but he's using the power on his own terms, in this case to cause pain. Maybe,
the power manifests as pain rather than lightning.
Maybe that could be like a good reason for leadership to think that he is actually special.
Oh, he's potentially another Violet.
Or maybe another one to be like one of the most powerful riders, just that we don't know yet.
Yeah, but like another Violet.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. I like that. When you said that he just bonded a tiny orange dragon, it reminded me of another reply I got to the story. Kelly said that he just has little penis syndrome. That's the best message that we got.
Yeah, but again, was Kaori laughing at him that he has a really small dragon.
What the fuck is Kaori doing?
Yeah.
On today's episode of What the Fuck is Kaori Doing? Yeah. So Jack asks Barlow, he says, you look good, the second year says, sitting up on the reconstructed bunk and smiling. You're here to dose me. Pretty sure I'm not due until tomorrow morning. Why did he say you look good? Just is he noticing the eyes?
I think he knows. They say that he just channeled from the ground. Maybe he noticed something like on the face or...
What he was told.
Yeah, you know when this kind of thing that happen, I don't know if it happen all the time in real life or in the movies, that maybe somebody doesn't have sex for a long time, they will have like the face change, they look like more radiant or something.
Maybe,
so maybe
that's what it is.
Yeah, so Jack is maybe like, oh, you look good.
Yeah.
Being like channeling. So I think is that he noticed that something changed in the face or an expression or something when you channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Xaden's ultimately looking for a cure, isn't he? And he threatens to get or to send for the ribostat chest. First I was like, hang on, didn't that get blown up? But I don't think it did. I wondered if that was a bit of foreshadowing. Will Jack Barlow end up in the ribostat chest?
He definitely deserved it. If they're gonna manage to...
Does anyone deserve that? That's a moral question we probably shouldn't go down. Like being suspended in the air until they mummify. Oh, God.
Yeah.
This comes back to, like, what? One of the responses to our question today. They kill all the other Venin. Mm-hmm. Why is Jack still alive? I love your theory about the power.
Yeah, and more when he is the direct responsible of that war, because he was the one who broke down the war stone, or he was responsible for all of that. So if they were killing Venin, they just came around to kill riders. Why not kill them directly responsible?
Well, Xaden was about to, wasn't he? But Violet was like, no, keep him alive. We need to question him.
Yeah.
Risky move. But he can't die yet. Like, we need Jack in the books for a bit. Like, we love to hate him.
Oh, that's something that I was thinking earlier, that maybe Jack is gonna be the ultimate bad guy. That maybe he will start to just climb on the Venin ladder until he turns into like the biggest villain of the full Imperium series.
He's certainly got the ambition for it. I just think General Daramore's still the big bad guy.
Yeah, but it won't be the first time the one bad guy holds the new generation. The new generation just overtaken.
Yeah. And this is another one actually from Lishful Reading. The Daddy Atos is the ultimate bad guy. And we know that Rebecca Yarros, when we were in London, she said Colonel Atos, or Dane's dad, deserves the worst death. And that, like, she didn't say General Daramore. She didn't say, that would have given it away, but she didn't say the leader of the Venin. She said...
And she's a Varish. And...
Yeah. But she could also be thinking of that stage of the book. She's very clever. She's not going to say something that's...
No. I feel like if there's a worse bad guy, you're not going to say that.
Yeah. But I do agree. Dane's dad is up to shady stuff in the coastal outposts. And he was up to shady stuff before. Anyway, there is no cure, apparently. You can't give back what's taken. I am sure you can, and I think a siphon can, but I'm not going to... I mean, we're already at a very long episode. He says he'd rather die than become one of us. And he feels it. He's scared because he knows that it's going to be hard, and he can feel the power. And also, like, if you're going to feel the power anywhere, it's going to be at Basgaiath, because that's why it's there, because that's where the power flowed deepest and strongest. So he can feel the craving. I just had a question about why don't people feel like that with the power from the sky? Is it a different type of magic? It's a different type of power. Because a rider doesn't feel like, I've got to take a bit more, I've got to take a bit more. Does it just taste better if it's not allowed? Taste is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. Feel better if it's forbidden.
Well, that's what everyone says, isn't it? But I'm not sure exactly how it works when it's talking about taking the power from the dragon. You feel like limitations with your body. It's like your body is not taking that much control. You have to build doors on it to control that terrain of power. But when you channel it from the ground, they're supposed to have way much more power than when you go from the dragon. It's like your body is absolutely fine with that. So I don't know why.
Because you trade in your soul. It's a balance thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's all to do with the soul.
Yeah, I guess that, you channel, you will be like powerful.
You're not losing your energy. You're not
anything, but you're losing your soul.
Burning out, So that's the trade-off. I loved it. I read somewhere, and I can't remember from that because it was months and months ago. But I read the thing about the difference between the power from the ground and the power from a dragon being the difference between an elected leader and a dictator. And a dictator can go on for many, many years unchecked, because they've stolen the power, but they often have sold their soul to do that. Whereas an elected leader only has a term of maybe 4 years. They have a lot of power for those 4 years, but that's the balance, that's the trade-off, and they're elected, so they haven't stolen the power. Really, really interesting post. I think it was on Reddit, but I would have to go and find. It would take me a while to find it. I don't remember who it was. And the end of Iron Flame welcome to our fucked up family. Guess we're brothers now. And this is the line that made me think, hang on, is Xaden's mum very high up in the Venin? And does Jack know?
I took it just as, like a brotherhood.
Brothers in arms.
Yes, they just, okay, you join our cause, now we're brothers.
I know, but that's why I feel like...
Something like this.
It feels like intrinsic all over... Xaden is an intrinsic all over again. Like, there were clues everywhere, blatant ones. Jack has literally said, guess we're brothers now. And I wonder if that's the hint we'll come back to when we find out that Xaden's mum is Venin.
I hope she's not. It would be like boring if everyone is a Venin somehow. It would be better for me if she is like the queen of the Isles Kingdom or something, that she had to do something so important that she couldn't stay in the continent. Yeah,
I don't think it would be boring. I think it would be incredibly sad. I want her to be Dune or like you. I want her to be like some kind of queen, even Queen Mariah. I think he would recognize her. But I think there is a very, very strong possibility. Why did Fen all of a sudden know about it, lead a rebellion? His wife had left. Like, there's lots of signs that stack up to potentially Xaden's mom being Venin. So, that is the end of Iron Flame. Wow, we made it to the end of Iron Flame just in time for Onyx Storm. Thank you all for hanging on to the pommel again as we went so deep into both Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. We nearly didn't come out.
Join us next week for the pilot episode of Onyx Storm. Will be released the day before the book's official launch, so you know what we're expecting to see. And whatever any of our theories hit the mark before the story unfolds. So thanks for listening to Faithfully Fantasy,
the husband and wife podcast talking all things Iron Flame for the last time. Not for the last time, we won't shut up about it, but this week we talked about Iron Flame. Be sure to head over to our Instagram and TikTok at Faithfully Fantasy Pod to join the conversation. We love hearing your thoughts, theories and themes in the comments. We'll be sharing our bingo cards in the next few days.
Also, don't forget to visit our website where you can find all our episodes and all the relevant links about us. All of this on faithfullyfantasy.com. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. We say goodbye for now, but we'll see you on next week with more Faithfully Fantasy and, of course, with more Onyx Storm.
See you next time!